was terrified because I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
And at even all of the classes that we took, they never discussed that this could be a possibility. We're 3 millennial Latina first-time moms and entrepreneurs who connected at the start of our radio careers. From partying at nightclubs to figuring out night feeds, we've been friends for 14 years.
We're not experts, just honest moms navigating motherhood together, from pregnancy and the newborn stage to toddlerhood, one phase at a time.
We're excited to share what we've learned, what we wish we'd known, and everything in between. Welcome to Nightclubs to Night Feeds.
Episode 6?
What? Already?
2025?
Wow.
2025. Welcome to 2025.
That's
Happy New Year.
wild.
Wow.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy
New
2025.
Wild.
I have a 1-year-old.
Wild. I have a year and a half year old.
Wild.
I'm about
Wild.
to have a 3-year-old.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. This month.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Insane.
Who are we? Well, let's rewind it all back to our birthing stories. All things birth stories. Low-key PTSD. But
Low-key, high-key.
low-key, high-key. I want to get into it. Let's do rapid fire really quick.
Okay.
Of things that we wish people told us.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. That when they talk about a fetal monitor, a fetal heart monitor, it's really like a hook at the top of that goes into the top of your baby's skull that can literally pull some of their hair off.
I did not know that.
Skull?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Okay.
Wait,
Mine is.
wait. That happened to Poppy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll get deeper into it, but yeah, it did.
That's insane. Okay. Go ahead,
I'm shook.
Nicole.
You can get contractions like 2 weeks before you go into labor.
So you got contractions when?
I got one contraction, like 2, maybe even 3 weeks before my baby was due.
Wow.
Yeah, random in
Yes.
the. Yeah, it was random.
Mine is I had no clue what vacuum assisted was
Oh yeah.
until I was there.
Yeah.
And my son was vacuum assisted.
And then he was vacuumed on out.
Which I
Yes.
was terrified because I didn't know what that was. And
Yeah.
at even all of the classes that we took, they never discussed that this could be a possibility.
Yeah.
And
you took all the classes.
I took a million
Wow.
and I thought I knew all of the things. And that just goes to show you that you're literally never prepared
Yep.
for what is going to happen when you're going through your labor and delivery. So
Yeah.
it was definitely interesting, but that takes us to birthing style,
Yeah.
which we all, I think, had different ones. Nicole, I know yours
Yeah.
was different for sure. So
Yeah.
explain your birthing style.
So it was important for me to give birth naturally and in a pool of water and unmedicated. So it was important for me
That
to do all the
is-
thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And so it was a
Wild.
while to find where is this even possible? How much does this cost? Who do I trust? Like how do these midwives know what they're doing? And the
Yeah.
deeper research I did, the more certain I was. I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
My goodness.
When you found out you were pregnant because it wasn't planned, is that when you were like, this is what I want to do? Or did you already know, like, when I do get pregnant, I know I want to do natural?
I feel like I kind of always knew, but when I got pregnant, it was just solidified.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was a shock more to my partner. And he was like, what? Why? And he was against it for a while, but he also just like, he knows me and it's not uncommon if you know me to know that I would want to
Yeah.
do something like that.
Yeah,
so he
yeah.
supported me after that. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel I'm also like half hippie. So I'm
Full hippie, half hippie.
My thought was I always really did think that I would have a hypnobirth. I just never told anybody because I thought if I back out, I don't want anyone to know. Either way, they're not going to know what I'm choosing. So when I thought about it, I was like, if I start having contractions and I feel that I can like power through it, then I will just have a natural birth. Like I didn't look into the birthing centers and stuff, but like I thought I'll just have a natural birth like my mom did, you know. And then the contractions hit and I was like, absolutely not. JK.
Where's that epidural?
JK. I am not being anyone's hero right now. I am just like, I'm doing what I need to do. And that is take the drugs.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. I'm not good with pain at all. And I knew like I'm a little bitch, even though like when I brought this up with my husband and my sister who were in the room with me, they were like, your tolerance for pain is so high. And I'm like, who are you talking to? Like,
Yeah.
what? I'm scared to get shots.
Yeah.
Same.
But I was getting contractions, and we could see it on the monitor, and they were like, what? Like, you're doing so well, like, going there. And I'm like, no, like, that was before the epidural. But I knew I wanted all of the things that could assist me with minimal pain and to make sure that my baby was healthy.
Yeah.
Like,
That was the most important.
That was important. I'm like, I'm not going, that is top priority. So, like, if I was at the point where I couldn't get the epidural anymore, so be it, because I can't get it. But if I can, we doing that epidural for sure.
I remember there was a point when I was in labor. You know, there's 3 stages when you give birth. The last stage is where everything is the most heightened, and that's where women want to give up the most. But that's where you're the closest. In that point, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm thinking, how can I get to the hospital? Where can I get all the things? But it was way too late, and I gave birth maybe like 10 minutes after after that whole
But that's
thought.
probably like a long 10 minutes in that moment.
Because that's always the backup plan, right? When you're doing sorry, I just bumped the mic. When you're doing a natural birth, is that like, you know where the hospital is?
Yeah.
There's a certain point where like you would have to go, right? Like, you guys made a plan for all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We already knew, you know, if I was pushing for a certain amount of time, if the baby was flipped or whatever it was, then we knew that's where, Plan B was going to be at that hospital, which was 5 minutes, if that, away.
See, that's great.
Yeah. So we knew.
What about our birthing room? What was the situation, the scenario there?
I wanted mine to be full of music. Obviously, both I and my husband, you know, met in music, and I feel like it's such a big part of our relationship, and I wanted to be as calm as possible. So I feel like even before we got to the room that I was going to deliver in, because let me tell you, I went to the hospital like 3 times, and they sent me home because I was like, this baby's going to come out, and they're like, ma'am, you're not even dilated. That was great. So yeah, all 3 times they sent me home. I then went home. I was like, okay, I need to like provide this space that's going to like calm me down, take away the pain, because I'm in a lot of pain. And so I like got out the diffuser, put on some calming aromatherapy, and put on music and like nature sounds, a lot of like nature sounds, just to like help me hum through it, meditate through it. And I did the same when we moved to the birthing room until I got the epidural, and then I was like, girl, I'm back. I'm back. This is great.
She's
I'm
in
back
action.
There she is.
How about you?
Mine was a little similar in the sense that like I knew I wanted music playing, but mine wasn't like nature sounds or anything. I remember I made a whole playlist for Santi, and I would listen to it while I was pregnant. And I still listen to it now because I knew I wanted to like have this music, and it's similar to music I grew up to. So it's like my parents' music. Like, I want him to know good music that I like. So I had this whole playlist playing, and I remember we're in there and like we're getting close, and then this song ends, and I'll say it right now, but my sister's like, oh my God, thank God that song ended, because I didn't want him to be born to Rock Lobster by the B-52s. What? I love that song, so that was on there. But he ended up being born too, and I love this, and I'm actually going to get a tattoo of it once I can get a tattoo. To All You Need Is Love by the Beatles.
I love that.
That's the song that was playing when literally I was pushing, and I felt like I was dying, and he was coming out.
Wait, to clarify, not nature sounds happening when I was actually birthing.
Okay.
Nature sounds were to calm me before I was able to get the epidural.
I thought you were listening to like birds chirping while Poppy came out.
Imagine. I'm like, oh my God, no. I also had a playlist that I made when I was pregnant that I would listen to. Same old school like vibes with my mom and all that kind of stuff. And then just songs that Drew and I would listen to with the little pods on the stomach.
Cute.
And so, she was born to Angel by Jack Johnson, which is also the song that I walked down the aisle to.
What?
So that's like our song. Yes.
Wait, that takes us back to the episode 1 or 2 or episode 2 when you're talking about the dream you had.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I know. It's crazy. And my middle name is Angel. My middle name
What?
is Angel.
I
Yes,
didn't know
that song was what I walked in. And so now I've taught Poppy it as like a nighttime lullaby. I'll sing it to her. And so now she sings it back, and like it makes me want to cry every time, because I'm like, you have no idea how special this song is.
Wow.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the one with all the nature sounds. Of course.
Yeah.
Birds were chirping. Well,
Birds were chirping, sound bowls. It was the full like woo woo.
Yeah.
I'm that bitch.
Yeah.
I'm that
You're that
spiritual.
calm.
I'm
You're
very
calm
calm
enough for that.
I'm super
You
calm.
really are.
Yeah, even leading up, I was super calm. Even when I was at home laboring during contractions, calm. I was
Wow.
chill.
Must
at
be
home.
nice. Yeah, must be nice. I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, I was super, but I was also very confident, and I think that plays into me kind of pulling into the spiritual ethers
Yeah.
of my ancestors, of my spiritual guides, of like all the things. I was pulling all the things, and so I was at home meditating through like all the contractions. So when it was time for us to go to the birthing center, and it was funny because we were in womb 1.
So cute.
I know. It was so cute. I really wanted it to just be Zaire and me and the midwives. My mom ended up coming and she was staying in like the lobby area. And but when it came down to business, my mom ended up coming into the room and she really helped support. But we weren't alone. It wasn't just me, Zaire, my mom, and the midwife. I actually saw my deceased great grandmother walk into the room.
What?
Right before it got into like active labor. Actually,
Wait. Had you ever met her in life?
yeah, I had met
Okay.
her. Yeah, I grew up knowing her, but you know, I think all of us kind of grew up, or if we have like the luxury of growing up with like just that old matriarch.
Yeah.
She was just always old when I was young.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, I remember her passing away when I was like, I don't know, like 20 or something. But I remember that moment. I was, I think my water had just broke, and I knew it was coming. I knew like I can feel all the things happening. And I remember looking at the door, and I literally saw her walking in, which was the crazy. And I can't even describe it to you.
Yeah.
And while I was in the pool of water, when I was pushing, my partner was behind me, and I knew it was my midwife, 2 of my midwives, my mom, and there was 2 people, 2 spirits. I didn't know who they were, but they were there, and I saw them. Like if you're
Like looking.
they were looking over into the pool, but I didn't know they're. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to explain this. All the words are trying to come out at the same time. There weren't actual human being bodies standing there, but I knew there were 2 energies there. After it happened, I was telling my partner, like, yeah, I saw 2 beings there. And he goes, that was my dad and my best friend. And I was like, what?
What?
So he knew, he saw them there. And
What?
I knew they were there. I didn't know who it was, though. So it was a very spiritual experience for both of us.
Wow.
I think for all of us in the room. Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
And then, you know, after my baby was born, he was born into the water. The midwife caught the baby, brought him up, and he was calm. Like, of course, right?
Yeah.
Like, this
Just like mama.
Yeah.
he's chill. And I remember even asking, like, should he cry? Is he okay? And the midwife's like, no, he's perfectly fine. But like, also, he was born into like all the sounds. The room was dark. It was like, it was very chill. So it was a very smooth transition for him to go from like the womb to the water to, you know, my chest. It was all, you know,
Versus
there.
in the hospital where there's like fluorescent lighting and like 17
80
people that
people in the
rushed in
room.
there. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy.
I know, but it was the experience that I wanted. That's what I really wanted, and I'm actually glad that my mom ended up being there, because at first I was like, no, nobody else into the room.
Yeah.
But she ended up really holding it down, especially if you guys listened to episode 5 before this, when I was talking about Zaire, my partner, not liking vomit, and I'm like in there like getting ready to throw up, and he's leaving the room, but my mom's like
She
right
helped
there.
you.
Yeah, she helped me through
You
it.
needed
Yeah.
her. And that's special for her to be in there with
Yeah.
you and her grandbaby being born.
Yeah.
That's
That's
amazing.
so cute.
Yeah.
I feel that's one of the things that I was sad we did not get the opportunity because of COVID to have my mom be in the, even like the option to have my mom be in the room. It was only your partner. And even then, like, they made your partner's tests before you were going to go into labor, because if your partner had COVID, like depending on the hospital, they weren't going to be allowed in the labor and delivery room. It was like a whole thing. So like 2 weeks before I was like probably going to go into labor, we made sure to like be on complete lockdown, because obviously I was like, I am not
like,
having
I
this
need you
baby by
there.
myself.
Right.
That's crazy. And every time like I went all those false alarm times, he was not allowed to come up to the hospital room with me at all.
That's
so
scary.
he literally had to like drop me at the front of the hospital. And you think it's like one of those things, like something I thought people, you know, would have told me, is that it's like the the movies where like you come in and you're like, oh, I'm about to have the baby, and then everyone like gets a wheelchair and like people wheel you up. No. It was like, I'm about to have a baby. Okay, ma'am, the elevator's over there.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm over here having horrible contractions trying to get up and this happened 3 different times, and each time, the last time when I finally got admitted, I couldn't talk, like how we were talking about the low like humming and stuff. I was literally just doing that. I could not speak. It was just like a like for a long time.
Yeah.
And so when the woman was asking me all these questions, I just literally point at Drew and I'm like, he has to come up, like through my teeth, like he has to come with me, because I literally can't communicate at this point.
Yeah.
It was wild. But I feel like if I were to have another, I definitely would want my mom there, because I do feel that there's like definitely a female and a matriarch connection when it comes to like, she's been through this, she's your mom, she's there with you through this, and or like a sister. I feel like there's sisters who have been through it. You know, I just felt like there would have been this like extra energy that I would have loved. Like my husband was definitely all up in there and was like the other nurse in the situation.
God bless him.
Love
God
that.
bless him.
Yeah.
He's like, literally, I'm a certified midwife. When we left there, he was like, I'm a certified midwife. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So I feel like having my mom there would have just been like an added bonus, you know?
But you guys did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Good for your husband. My husband was terrified. Like, I was terrified, but I'm like, both of us can't be terrified.
Yeah.
So he's super, I think I mentioned he's super sensitive with blood and all that. And I'm like, bro, obviously there's going to be blood and lots of things. And he's like, I don't think I can do it. And I'm like, you need to do it. Like, I'm not going to do this without you there.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be in the room to some capacity. And then it was low-key stressing me out during my pregnancy, because even us watching, like, in the parenting classes, like, the birthing videos and stuff, he couldn't even watch that. He couldn't even hear the sounds. And I'm like, okay.
Like the sounds of the woman,
No.
like, no.
So what would he do? Like walk out?
No, he'd literally be like this in class. And I was like, oh, my gosh.
What?
And there was a few men in class there that, like, it was too much. And, like, the teacher would say, like, if this is too much, like, have a plan so you're not alone. And I'm like, that's what I need to do. So I told him, like, we need to have my sister there.
Yeah.
Like, I will just feel comfortable that if, God forbid, you faint, the hospital has to admit you.
Oh.
So if you faint, I'm solo dolo. If you faint, which you don't know if you're going to faint, like we don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you do, you're gone. And I definitely can't be in there alone. So I want to have my sister come. My sister has 2 kids. She had an emergency C-section and a natural birth. So I'm like, she knows the things. And she's my person too. So he's like, 1,000%. And I thought he was going to be like, no, it should just be us. He's like, 1,000%. She should be in the room. Yes.
And she won't faint. Like,
And she will not faint. She can do like literally all the things. So then even when it got to us discussing like who's going to cut the umbilical cord, and I'm like, usually it's you or me. And I'm like, I don't think I want to. He's like, I don't think I can. And I'm like, my sister should cut the umbilical cord. So we asked if she wanted to cut, and she cut that thing. Like,
I love that.
the umbilical cord. Yeah. So it was me, my husband, and my sister. And honestly, like, my sister, praise her. Like, even my husband now is like, I could not have done that without her. And I'm like, we could not have done that without her. And now she's my son's Nina. And like, my son will know how important his Nina played in his birth story.
Oh, I love that. So how was it in the room after your baby was born? Like watching your baby, like watching the doctors do the things to the baby, like watching your partner become a parent and like with the newborn?
I feel I was such in shock
Yeah.
after she came out that I was like, I had been in labor for so long. I think it was like 26 hours by the time it was all over or something, that I was so delirious, hungry, thirsty, all the things. I was literally like begging my husband for water. Like, the doctor's not looking. Give me that water.
Wow.
Give me that water bottle. Like, I just was like, we just ran a marathon and I can't drink or eat. That was crazy to me.
See, that's and that's like the reason why I also love giving birth naturally, because all the midwives are like, that's stupid. You're supposed to drink. So I was drinking water. I was eating fruit. I was drinking
water the
tea.
whole time.
Were you?
Yeah.
I think that they do that in preparation if you need a C-section.
Yeah, if you need an emergency C-section, which they had thought at one moment, because they didn't think she was going to fit through my pelvis. And I was like, I was not on a keto freaking diet for 6 months of my pregnancy, so that because the whole point is to give a vaginal birth, if you know, to keep your weight down, to keep the baby's weight down. And so I was like, absolutely not. What do I have to do? And so I like Malasana squatted her out of me, which like, thank God to yoga again, because that's what saved me having to get an emergency C-section.
Wait,
and
you
I know that's why they
squatted?
don't. Yeah. So like she was like, okay, you're pushing, but like she kind of just keeps hitting your pelvis. And so I'm like, what do I do? And she's like, you just got to like widen your pelvic bone basically. And I was thinking about yoga. I'm like, how do we do that? You Malasana squat, like literally put your feet out and then push your hips more down. And I pushed that way. And she was like, yes, like that's the way you got to do it every time. And that like solved everything. So it was amazing.
So you were squatting.
Yeah, like in the stirrups. In the
stirrups.
Squat. Yeah. Like pulling my pelvis down and like centering it more and like really squatting my legs up.
Wow.
And so I had an epidural, but at that point the epidural had worn off a lot. So by the time she did come out, I did feel the majority of it. Like I felt a pop and I felt her like come out fully.
Wow.
And so yeah, the feeling afterward after the pop was like they put they put her on my chest and I was so like confused and like, she's like, what is happening? That I remember the nurse saying to me, oh, don't drop her. Because I was so like, oh my God. She was like so slimy and like,
God. Slimy. Yeah, they're slimy.
Slow slimy. And I'm trying to see her because they put her like so high up I was so out of it. And I look at the nurse, I'm like, move her down. I can't see her face. So I'm like trying to move her down and I look at her and I'm like, so like, I can't believe this just happened. Wow. Like you're saying like the disassociation. It's like, I can't believe that this baby just came out of my body and is now looking at me. And so I feel like watching them after we saw her for a little bit and I wanted to do like the skin to skin for a moment. Then they obviously took her and like did all the cleaning up and watching my husband with her. It was so like unreal. Like I still was just like staring at it like what has happened? Like this is a movie.
Yeah.
Like how did you feel? And then
I felt like when he came out, I was the same as Nikki because he wasn't crying instantly and I'm like, wait, is he broken? I don't know what happened. So okay? I was like, is he supposed to cry? And literally like when I said that, he started like a little gentle cute cry and I'm like, oh, there he goes. And I was like, so that's what I wanted to hear, you know?
Poppy didn't initially cry either.
Yeah.
Maybe that's more common than we think. Maybe in movies like they show the big giant cry.
Probably.
But it's interesting.
But he was vacuum assisted. So I was in labor for 41 hours. And it was almost like the doctor kept telling me like, you're going to have to think of soon because you're getting so exhausted, like about other options. I'm like, what are my options? That's not a C-section. And she's like, well, C-section, obviously, but you can do vacuum assist. I'm like, no. And then I look at my husband and I look at my sister and they're like, no. And I'm like, we don't know what that is, but we all say no. We're saying no. And then he would not come out.
Did they say why? Like, was he stuck?
He was a little sideways, so like his shoulders were over here. He wasn't aligned with me. So and my back and my neck locked. So I couldn't move. My epidural fell out twice. Wow. They had to re-administer it. Ouch. It was a shit show, literally.
Whoa.
And then since my back and neck locked, I was in pain. So I'm like, why can I feel this? And they're like, well, the epidural is only going to help you for pain waist down. You're going to feel everything else. So I could feel literally everything. So they told me like once I had to start pushing, my husband had to stand behind me to push me for myself. Because I couldn't, you know how you're supposed to bear down and like crunch? Yeah. I couldn't even do that. My neck hurt so bad. And I had been doing all these yoga poses and all these things on the ball. And I'm like, I can't do them anymore. Like I'm in literal pain. I thought I was going to be paralyzed. And I asked the nurse, like, am I going to be paralyzed? And she's like, no. I remember she laughed and I'm like, what is funny?
What is funny? Nobody's laughing.
Terrified. Yeah.
Right.
She's like, no, you're not going to be paralyzed. And I'm like, well, I literally can't move. So my husband didn't want to be down here anyway.
Yeah.
So they're like, stand behind her.
He's like, this is a great job.
Yeah.
Right.
No, he loved it. He was like, perfect. They were like, stand behind her. And when we count to 3, you push her to like make her do the crunch. So he literally had to do it. And I was just like being pain, like, and
oh my God.
like push at the same time. My sister was right here.
Wow.
My sister would be like, he's right there. He's right there. He has so much hair, which he does.
Yeah.
He does, yes.
But
like for 3 hours, this was happening.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah. So I'm like, what do we do? I'm exhausted. I haven't eaten. And I remember my sister telling me, because the doctor kept saying, like, you're going to have to think of plan B. And I remember my sister coming and telling me, like, it's okay if you get a C-section. Because she also had an emergency C-section. She's like, this isn't like, it doesn't mean that it's any less than. All we want to make sure is that the baby's healthy. And if it means you getting a C-section, then that's it. And that's when I was finally like, you're right. Like, I need to think of something else. So then another doctor comes in and she's like, what's going on? I hear you're 10 centimeters. I hear the baby's right there. And we're like, yes. And then she looks and she's like, we're having this baby right now. And her energy
like,
was
yes,
just,
girl.
her energy was just like, so we're doing this.
Yeah.
Whereas the other doctor, which it was my doctor the whole way, I love her. She was just like, what do you want to do? Like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And this new doctor was just like, this baby's coming out. I don't want you to get a C-section. Do you know about vacuum assist? I'm like, they offered it to me and I said no. She's like, have you seen it? And I'm like, no. She's like, do you know what it is? And I'm like, no. It sounds scary. And she's like, I'm going to show it to you. So she shows it to us. And literally, me, my husband, and my sister were like, why do you call it a vacuum? That's not a vacuum. Like, I thought you plugged this into the wall and it's going to go and the baby's going to come out. Like, it's a little rubber hat.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
it.
it's a little rubber hat and they put it on the head because it's literally, the baby's right there.
Yeah.
And when you push, they pull. And that's it. And
it's
we
more
were
like a suction, right? Than like
kind
a vacuum.
of, right. Yeah, but it just, he needs a little.
Yeah.
And since he's stuck, the doctor can like wiggle him the way for his shoulders to move.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what are obviously the pros is that he comes out, but like what cons are there after this? And it's like really nothing. Like you will have a fully healthy baby.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's vacuum him.
Vacuum him out, please.
Why didn't they tell you this hours ago?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I'm so grateful for this doctor that came in like, we're doing it. This baby's coming out right now.
Yeah.
She did warn us like a lot of people are going to come in here because it's like a different team. And then once he's out, we want to make sure he's great and everything. So I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do it. I don't want to get a C-section. So we did the vacuum and he was out. They say they only give you 3 attempts to push. And if it doesn't work.
With the vacuum.
If it doesn't work, then it's C-section at that point. And he came out on the first one.
Oh, I love it.
I was like, boom.
Wow.
What was your like max time for pushing? Because I feel like every hospital has like different parameters, and ours was like, what was it? 3 hours? No, 3 or 4 hours.
They never told
4 hours, I think.
They never told me like you have X amount of time, which is great because I think I would have been stressed.
Yeah.
Like, oh shoot, I gotta get him out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They never told us that, but I could, like, we all felt them like, okay, what are you gonna do now? Like,
Man, the parameters,
Like the stress.
that's bullshit. Because how do
I
you
know.
quantify time to a woman
I know.
giving birth through her
it's like-
actual portal? Like,
Yep.
don't get me started.
Oh,
with this.
they told me 4 hours. I pushed for 3 hours and 45 minutes.
What?
Literally, she came out 15 minutes before they were about to be like, you need a C-section, because I was like, I have to do this. And like same with you, like we had good nurses who I feel like were like, you can do this, like we're gonna do this together.
I love
and
that.
obviously my husband really being really in there, it was helpful. But I feel like there were a lot of parameters. Like I thought, like I remember Chris seeing a video of you like on the birthing ball, and you said you had an epidural at that point. Like
I had a walking epidural.
a walking epidural. Yeah, I
Which is
asked for a
different.
walking epidural at first, and they were like, no, we don't do that. So there was just a lot of things that like I thought I would have more of a say in at the hospital, and I feel like I kind of didn't. I think like the epidural was definitely way less scary and way less painful than I had heard from other people. Obviously, everyone has their own
1000%.
experience. But
I
it
agree.
was way better than I thought.
Same.
Like I was so terrified that it was going to be like
Same.
this freaking foot-long needle.
Which it is, but you don't feel it.
But I didn't even
see
look
it,
at it,
and
like
you
I
don't feel
can't.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was way better, and they at the hospital that I was at, they wouldn't let my partner in for the epidural part, which I was
What?
really scared about because I'm like, wait, they say this is the scariest part, and now I'm just gonna be in there by myself again.
Did you do
Yeah.
hospital tours when you found out you were pregnant?
No.
I did 4 hospital tours, and I asked all
Wow.
of these questions.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like those things, I had to make sure like he was included with.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a room alone when someone's injecting me and I can't see it.
Yeah.
So him and my sister saw it, and he again is like uneasy with those things, so
Yeah.
he wasn't looking at it from this view, but
He's
my
looking at
sister
your
was, and even my sister's like, I never saw them do my epidural, so I got to see them do yours, and now
Yeah.
I got to see, like, she was so super into it. So
Yeah.
I really want women listening to this who are pregnant, who are thinking about having babies, I really want them to know that they have a choice. You have a choice. You can say no to the doctors. You can ask questions. You can ask pros and cons. That's something that they don't tell you.
Yeah.
And they tell you the baby needs vitamin K on their eyes. The baby needs this Hep B shot. The baby needs X, Y, and Z. But you can refuse all of it, and they'll make you feel bad. Like, are you sure? Like, they'll shame you. Like some do, which I think it's really great to have like a doula with you, to really have somebody to advocate for you. And it sucks, like the whole pandemic thing, that you couldn't have people there for you.
Yeah.
But I really, really, really urge women, individuals, anybody listening, to really know that you have a right to refuse whatever the fuck you want. And you can
and do your research on what you want to refuse,
and have a plan. And it's important to also look at hospitals, because if you're the type that you don't want to vaccinate, some hospitals will keep your baby.
What?
And they can call child protective services on you.
What hospital is that, in California?
Exactly, in California, yes. Well, I mean, in any state. I mean, we don't know what the fuck is happening now with the way the government's going, but it's really important. Like, if you're deciding to vaccinate, not to vaccinate, to choose vitamin K, to not choose vitamin, whatever the hell you want, it's really important to see which hospitals will call child protective services, which aren't. Which
do you just call them and ask them? Are you going to call Child Protective Services if I deny this?
You can ask.
Yeah.
You can ask that. I know that there are strict ones here in California, in LA, and I know that there are some, which is why the one that we chose, the hospital, was a hospital that wouldn't call Child Protective Services, because I didn't do vitamin K for him. We didn't do any shots when he was born. So it was important for me to know these things before going into it. So if my next baby, if I do have a birth at a hospital, or if I do a natural one, I don't know, then I would need to know those things, because I need to know what my rights are, and I'm walking out with my baby. So
I think that's important. And I know we talked about classes in the last episode, but we had taken one of our birthing classes at the hospital that we were gonna deliver, and that was cool because they kind of walk you through the whole process of when you get here to when you're discharged, everything in between, and also what they do and do not allow. So as far as vaccines, we didn't want all of the vaccines either when he was born, and they made it clear in that class, like, you can accept or deny. You are the parent and you choose. So, like, also look into your hospitals and look into the classes so you know the ins and the outs. And we wanted to know everything. And, like, they had a tub there if we wanted to do a water birth. Like, they're like, if you want to do a water birth, we have a room for that. And, like, you know all of the amenities.
That's amazing. I definitely feel that me and all the other COVID moms were robbed of a lot. And I, obviously hearing these stories, like, it's more apparent to me than I think it ever was, like, because we couldn't go to the hospital before. There couldn't be any, all the waiting rooms were closed, couldn't be any extra people. We couldn't even leave to, like, go get food. It was a whole, and I feel like it does feel like it sucks that, I know that there's other COVID moms listening to this that were even way more deeper into the pandemic than I was. Like, I was on the tail end of it for sure. And I'm grateful for that. Like, there was, but it's really tough, I think, for anyone, especially like with the first baby and hadn't experienced what it could have been like than having this experience, and I hope that if we choose to have another, that it would be a completely different, I would have more options, I guess.
I want to know what you guys ate for the first meal after you delivered.
Oh my God.
Because that's something you don't forget.
Oh my God.
What I wanted to eat was In-N-Out. I wanted to eat that, but I didn't. I had like an acai bowl.
I was going to say plantains.
Yeah. Some healthy stuff.
Come on.
Yeah. I don't know why I think it, honestly, I don't know why we didn't get In-N-Out.
Are they like, your body needs to repair and here's an acai bowl?
I don't know. I think we're getting ready to leave. And mind you, we left 3 hours after we had the baby.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is insane, which now in hindsight, I wish I would have stayed longer. Also, when we left, another mom was coming in and she was in labor. And so I think there were 2 wombs, 2 rooms that they had at the midwife center. And I think they were also like, all right, we got to usher you out. So that's something that I didn't appreciate. I would have loved to stay longer, have more guidance. Because I remember I was at home like, okay, now what? But yeah, anyway, my partner was just like, I think Uber eating or like door dashing food. She's like, oh, what do you want from so and so? And I was like, oh, so I didn't even make the connection that I wanted In-N-Out, even though I really wanted it.
You're like ravenous, ravenous.
Yeah, but I think I had it the second night. I think.
So you ended up getting
I
yes.
did get it.
You
yeah.
got your In-N-Out,
I still
girl.
got it, yeah.
I was Cane's. I had Cane's.
Raising
Raising
Cane's.
Cane's.
I got Habit Burger. It was right next to the hospital, and like we would make a joke because we live by the hospital too. So every time we pass by, I'm like, I can't wait to get a Habit Burger after. And they have like tempura green beans that I love, and I'm like, give me those tempura green beans. Literally, my son was born, and then I was like, babe. He's like, you want the Habit? I'm like, go get it. Right there. Go get it.
He read your mind.
Wait, when your babies each came out, was it the middle of the night, during the day?
9:30 p.m.
9:30 p.m. Okay, so things were still open for you.
Yeah.
No, it was around 5 a.m. It was early. Yeah.
Okay, so an acai bowl makes sense.
Hello?
Hello.
Are we the same person?
Hello?
Twins. Chris and Chris.
Chris and Chris? What?
Mine was in the middle of the freaking night, so nothing was open. And when I tell you, like, the nurse there was such an angel on earth. Literally, she knew that I was starving, obviously. I looked at Drew like, we brought snacks, but we were
Not
there
enough.
for so long, we couldn't bring, like, a whole refrigerator, you know?
Yeah.
So he gave me, I was like, donuts now. Because I knew I didn't have gestational day. Once the placenta comes out,
Right.
you are free to go. So it came out, I said, donuts right now. He gave me the powdered donuts, stuffing them in my mouth. I literally have a video, Poppy's on the boob for the first time, stuffing donuts in my mouth.
I love that.
Then I was like, I need food. Like, it had been, 2 days since I had eaten. And so she was like, I'm so sorry, not even the cafeteria is open right now. Like, there's nothing that we can get to you. You guys can't leave. So she gave me her, like, healthy choice, which I would never usually eat something like that. You know, I'm, like, kind of crazy about food like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, girl, give me what you got. Give me what you got. She gave me her frozen meal. That was her lunch.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, my God, you're so sweet. So that was, unfortunately, kind of the first thing I ate.
First thing you ate.
But the first thing that I really enjoyed was that Raisin Cane.
Oh, I love that.
that.
I also had the have you guys heard of that salad that like makes you go
Yes,
into
the
labor?
spicy
Girl,
one?
that didn't work
Yes.
for me. Oh no, the one is from Studio City.
From Studio City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that.
It's spicy, right?
No, it wasn't
No?
spicy.
Oh, I don't know why I
No,
thought it
no,
was
no.
spicy.
No, I had
It
it.
did not work for me.
Yeah, it worked. It's the dressing. Yeah, because I was
Oh.
in labor for so long, and I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, I need you to go get it. Like, I need to get this baby out of me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he went to go get the salad, and I ate
Did
the
you
salad.
wait your name in the book and all that?
I didn't. I
Oh
haven't
my
gone.
God.
I haven't
because your dad went.
Yeah, my dad went.
You need to
I
go
still haven't
back
gone.
and write your name in there.
They have a whole wall. That's for women
Wow.
who have eaten the salad that helped them.
What is in the dressing again that they think?
girl,
They
I
don't
have
tell
no
you.
It tastes like
It's a-
balsamic
It's
dressing.
a basic salad.
Basic ass salad.
I went and I'm
Basic.
like, I'm gonna have this baby, and it didn't happen. But there were a lot of women there with their babies and like writing their name on the
my
wall. So I was like,
gosh.
okay, this is real. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Santi
Yeah.
was like, that.
Girl, that's not Mom.
I'm
It doesn't
cozy.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, that's not happening.
It worked for us, and we ended up going into labor. I don't know, maybe like an
after?
hour or two, like after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what did you girls pack in your hospital bags? And what would you like not pack the next time if you decide to have another one? Because I feel like this was the fun part about prepping. You know?
I mean, for me, it's not that fun because
It's
it was
not that fun for
it's
me.
it was
No?
it was at the birthing center, so we had to bring a lot of towels. Like we had to bring all the things.
You had to bring all the
We
things.
had to bring the things.
Oh.
The baby. The blanket that the baby is like born into, like the towels, like we had to bring all those things.
So did your partner have to like gather all the towels in a trash bag after, or like?
Yeah, so we ended
Okay.
up throwing away the ones that were like bloody. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want those.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we
yeah.
did keep the ones that like his first like blankets that he was in
Okay,
that we still
okay.
use to this day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not fun. It's like the
I don't know.
basic stuff.
Yeah.
I hate packing even for like vacation. So I was like, oh, I gotta pack for the hospital. And then I was stressed about it because it's obviously like a very big deal.
Yeah.
So I overpacked crazy. So
Yeah.
moving forward, I wouldn't pack as much. Like I packed so many cute little like lounge outfits for myself after like I'm gonna be comfy and cozy and
Yeah.
we're comfy cozy. But I just wanted to be in the hospital gown.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
I was living in that thing.
I was
Yeah.
literally naked. I was
you get-
yeah.
like literally
Naked
walking around
out.
naked.
I used the what is it, the Freedom Mom gown, and I loved it. It was
Oh, I
like
had
the
that too.
button, you know.
Yes.
Wore that for I don't even know how many days in a row after giving birth.
Yeah.
It's just like easy access with the boob. It was easy to like keep everything clean and situated down there when it's healing.
Yeah.
Yep. But I feel I love, like, I think you guys know this about me. Like, I love making lists and I love like prepping for stuff.
Yeah.
So the hospital bag, I'm not even kidding you. Probably by the time I was like 25 weeks, I had already packed it.
Oh my God.
And it was because I was just like so excited. And so, yeah, I feel the things that I ended up using that I didn't think I would use is like the grippy socks. Obviously, they make you wear those even if you don't want to, if you have an epidural, because you can slip and it's a liability, obviously. So I made my own grippy socks, and I loved
made them?
Yeah, I made them.
Hello,
my
Girl
gosh,
Collective.
So cute.
Love
So
that.
I did that, and then I obviously brought her outfit and like all the little nameplate type of stuff, like the little wooden carved things. A lot of snacks. The things that I think I overpacked on was bringing extra clothes.
Yeah.
I did bring a pacifier, which they were like not happy about me giving her a pacifier like an hour after she was born. But she loved it, and I those videos, I'm like, she's so tiny, and the pacifier is so big, and I'm so happy that I brought it. And yeah, I think just like the little outfits and the like, you know, extra little things that make it special, because obviously we couldn't have that many people. Were what was fun, but I wouldn't bring like multiple outfit changes. Like the one cozy robe I think was great for me, the grippy socks, anything that you want to take pictures of with the baby. I had brought like the breast friend and a boppy because I had read it on a list.
My gosh,
and
I
obviously did not use either of them because the hospital's just like putting the pillows underneath you to help you with the breastfeeding. So I feel like that was like a little much, but the clothing and stuff, I feel.
The clothes I overpacked for, but taking cute little clothes for him just to get pictures like, with him in, I was happy. But I was also so freaking weak at that point. And like standing was a lot. I remember even changing him. I'm like, I'm only doing one little outfit because standing and changing him is a lot at that point. Yeah.
And what I didn't realize too is like sometimes your feet get so swollen that bringing an extra pair of shoes that are definitely going to fit you in case like your swelling is really bad was a key thing that somebody had told me about. And thank God, because I only had one pair of shoes that fit me.
I was in Crocs for months.
Yep.
Months. Like probably a year, to be honest.
What would we do differently if we were to have another one?
Definitely stay longer.
Yeah.
I feel like if I do give birth again at a birthing center, I got to stay longer. I need more support. I didn't have a lactation consultant. I would definitely do that. Just in case, even though I did breastfeed I still am breastfeeding, but I think I would do that differently. Honestly, I think that's it. Considering like the giving birth naturally.
Yeah.
I did have my membrane sweep at 39 weeks. And moving forward, like even now talking about it with my husband, I'm like, I wouldn't have done, like second time, I won't do that again.
What is that?
It's, so they offer it to you at 39 weeks so you don't go past 40 weeks because they typically don't like babies to go past 40 weeks. They just want them to be like...
Right.
And it's supposed to like help induce, like push along your labor.
It's supposed to naturally induce you. So it's like literally the doctor sticks their fingers up there and they separate your cervix from the placenta, I think. And it takes like 30 seconds maybe, but it's painful. And I remember the rest of the day I was like just in pain. But I was so excited and so eager to have this baby. I'm like, sure, like let's do it. I didn't know it was going to be painful. Nobody told me. And things I wish people told me was that. And I remember I told my sister like, oh, I'm going to have my membrane swept on my next appointment. And she's like, oh, okay. And then after I was like, oh my God, it was so uncomfortable. Like we had to start over because the doctor started and I'm like, like I was not expecting that. And then she's like, we don't have to do it. And I'm like, fuck it. We already started. So like, let's just do it. It's 30 seconds. And so I did it. But when I told my sister, she's like, yeah, when you told me you were going to do that, I was like, that's going to hurt. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? But she didn't have her membrane sweep. But she's like, people that did told me it's like painful. I'm like, nobody told me. Nobody told me that.
I also did. But it was when I had gone in for the third time and I was in so much pain. This is how much pain I was in. When they did the membrane sweep, I didn't even feel it.
Wow.
I felt nothing. because I was in so much pain down there. I just literally nothing mattered.
And then, but you had the baby after that.
Yeah. So when they swept me,
help.
it did help me dilate another centimeter, basically. They had to, at that third appointment, they had to give me morphine to like calm my body down so that I could actually sleep, because it had been like almost 3 days since I had been able to sleep, and my body needed to like relax to dilate. So when that happened, then they did the membrane sweep, and then I dilated to 5, and then I was able to get, taken in.
So then that means that your membrane, it's the mucus plug, right? So you didn't lose that. You didn't.
Yeah,
lose
I didn't have a mucus plug, and my water didn't break either.
Mine either.
Those things.
I had a slow leak, which is why when I went in, because remember I told you I would go in so many times just because I was paranoid. I went in. And they were like, yeah, so your water is leaking. It's not broken, but we don't want to send you home. Like, you're going to have the baby very soon.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay. But can I go home and get my things? Because, like, we weren't expecting to go in and them to tell us that. And they were like, you can go home and get your things, but you have to come right back. And we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel anything that I would do differently, I think, obviously, not have a baby during a pandemic. That's the number one. And I think be less afraid to, like, advocate for myself. I think obviously not having a baby in a pandemic, I could bring somebody if I'm unable to speak, which was literally the case at certain points.
Yeah.
And really making sure that I eat before the contraction. Like if I start to feel contractions, eat immediately, because I didn't feel good enough in the beginning to eat.
Yeah.
But now that I know that I would be going like hours and hours, it really, I think, would help me morally and mentally to just like, oh my God, not trying to get my husband to go against the doctor's orders and sneak me things, because I felt like I can't do this.
You know what? That actually makes me think I'm changing my answer. I'm getting a doula.
Yes.
I'm getting a doula. She's going to be there the whole time with me. She's also going to be with me after I have the baby. She's going to help take care of me and give me the meals that I need, because I think people forget that.
Is that what a doula does? Will the doula be there for you though?
Yes. The doula is supposed to be for you. Yeah. And she's, and like the doula also is there like during labor. She's, you know how the doctors come in and out?
Yeah.
The midwife's the same thing. The midwife comes in and out. So she's not with you, coaching you through breaths. She's not doing that. The doula does. The doula. And when I was looking into getting a doula, I remember they would tell me, you don't need a doula. You just need a partner that's like active, that's helping you. And no, like I need a doula.
Yeah.
My partner was there for me, and he did the little massages and he did the things, but I need someone that's there, and they do the advocating. So you can take a doula with you to the hospital too. So they do the advocating. So like they're the protective shield for you.
Yeah.
But also it's like after the baby, the first few days, like, I needed that.
And speaking of the first few days, that is our next episode, because those first few days feel like,
wow.
What is time during those first few days?
Yeah.
So we are definitely going to get into that. Also PTSD.
Yes, same.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us on Nightclubs to Night Feeds. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we are, of course, always continuing the conversation on our social media. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Nightclubs to Night Feeds. That's at Nightclubs, the number 2, and then Night Feeds. Make sure to follow us and let us know if there's a topic you want us to cover. Can't wait to chat next time.